Hello, professional writing students. I am feeling much better. Thank you for being so patient on Friday. I know that I didn't want to get you sick, and I also wanted to stay at home and not feel bad while teaching. So, luckily, it was a good day to do it. As long as you guys. I know uploading your projects to Google Drive for the first time is a little bit of a challenge. It's always easier to come into class, have uploaded it, troubleshoot it for a couple of minutes, and then go from there. So that's what I think I ended up doing with a lot of you via email the night before, but it worked out just fine. You have a lot of feedback on your drafts from myself and other students. So you have from now until Friday at midnight to respond to those. And when I say respond, you don't have to respond. You don't have to type something in there, just to revise the project. On Friday, we'll come to class. We might spend a couple of minutes discussing, or I normally, on the Fridays that the papers are due at midnight, I normally spend the first 5 minutes asking, what questions do you have about the paper that are due tonight? And you ask those questions, but then we're moving on. So just know that, we'll bring your questions about the project to class, but then we move on during class. So we're going to start talking about project number 2, which is a fun letter memo. I did want to record this video because I had a couple of things to discuss with you about what I saw on the whole in the project. Most of you put together pretty good drafts, and I would call them exactly that, drafts. They all need work. Some of you were a little bit better with your methods than others. Some of you were a little bit better with your results or your discussion. So just know that. Take the comments, and like I said, put together a revision plan that allows you to rank your comment, rank the things you need to do. What are the most important things and what are the least important things? So on the whole, I think the methods section needs to describe what you're doing and why you're doing it. How are you studying user experience on your website or social platforms or apps? A lot of you said, I did usability, or sometimes you didn't say it as explicitly. So I said, you were like, I talked to 4 of my friends, and I said, yeah, these are usability tests. Make sure you tell us this. I did usability tests. When you do usability tests, explain to us what you did. I asked them to perform these 5 functions. And then how did you assess those, right? You asked them to perform those functions. Did you watch them while they did it? And take notes. Some usability tests, or they're watching them. So when people say oh, this is so hard, or they're clicking around and maybe they get to the wrong website, they're noting that. So that's what some researchers do. Did you time them? So you timed them. It took everyone who's 50 or older double the time to do it. Fine. Tell us that that's what you did. I did usability tests in this manner. So you're describing the usability test that you did and how you collected data from that test. Did you ask an exit questionnaire? And if you did that, great. Give us the questions as well. So I asked the following questions. And then give us a little bit about why you thought this was the best method to test user experience. What were you getting at? Some of you had really specific things that you were getting at. I really wanted to think about how women interacted with this website. So I asked this many women and did these things, and here's why I thought this would get at testing women. That's great. So that's one pretty popular method that I saw a lot of you using. The other one I saw a lot of you using were content analyses. And again, we talked about that in class. You can absolutely do a content analysis. The method, explaining your method and explaining the criteria for your content analysis helps it be more scientific. So here's what I looked at for my content analysis. I looked at 1, website layout. 2, like that's the kind of stuff that I'm asking you to do. So if you're just like, I looked at the website to see how user friendly it was, okay, revise that, make that more user friendly, or not user, sorry, make that more scientific, make it where you're telling us like, this is what I did, this is, I performed a content analysis on a website for a project. And what I did is I went through and I looked at the layout. I looked at repeated words. So I was specifically looking at gender on the website. So I looked at repeated words that were like signals to like, hey, women, come and look at this website. So it was like empowerment and whatever. Mine wasn't exactly a user experience project, but it was a content analysis. So I looked at repeated sort of types of image, and I both counted these things, but then I also did quantitative, but I also did a qualitative thing where I kind of described what was going on there. So again, what are the criteria for your content analysis? The results section. A lot of you did well. Again, if you did well, you can listen to this, kind of in the background with your Netflix on. If your results section was 3 sentences, you should probably listen to this. Your results section is you reporting your data. In my usability tests, I found the following things, right? It could be like, if you asked 4 people, you could describe all 4 of your usability tests and how they went through it. That's fine. If you did a survey, give us the results of your survey, right? If you timed people, give us the results of that. You could be at this stage where you did a usability test and there's three sentences you can say about it as results, and maybe you're thinking, gosh, I don't have enough results for my study. So you might need to perform a second study, if that makes sense, or get more users to help you with this study. So I would say that your results are probably at least a page. If you do not have a page of data, then you need to go back to the drawing board on your study and see what else you can do. Maybe it's a usability test with a content analysis. And then the discussion section. The discussion is your analysis. You're analyzing your data. So your discussion sections should mention your results. A lot of you did a really great job of bringing in outside sources and thinking about the context and whatever in your discussion, but some of you did that, but then you failed to bring in your results section, right? So make sure you're discussing your results, right? Again, your discussion section should be at least a page. If it's not a page, you're not being analytical enough. You're not thinking as much. Your discussion section does not have to say, here are some things that this website needs to change. It could just be explaining certain phenomenons. Why could this be the case? Or it could be talking about, like user experience in context. So the person who's talking about gender on a company's website could bring in a bunch of information about gender, like women interact with websites differently, and here's this information. And I think that's why we saw a lot of women who just were disengaged from this website and couldn't find buttons and stuff because it wasn't built in a way that most women are used to certain websites being built. And again, I'm making all of that up. So, but you get the point, is that you're explaining your phenomenon. You're analyzing your results and what you found, okay? Like some of you, again, it could be demographics. So you could have asked 4 80-year-old people and 5 20-year-old people to do the same usability test, and the 80-year-old people had a harder time doing it and the 20-year-old people did it, right? Or maybe it's vice versa. So maybe your website's more designed for young people or for older people than young. That's the kind of stuff that is interesting. And I can't always go into your data and say, this is the interesting thing about your data. Wow, here's where you should go into more analytical depth into it. And use the Simons book. Like, you have to use 2 outside sources. 2, okay? One of them can be the Simons book. The other one could be an article you find on the library's databases. Got it. Lastly, APA style. We did not go over that in class. I'm not expecting you to be experts, but I'm expecting you to be able to, you all took English 101 or 102 or a combination of many different first year writing classes. I'm expecting you to be able to go on to Purdue's online writing lab website. So Google Purdue OWL online writing lab APA. I'm expecting you to be able to format your report to look like that, and I'm expecting you to be able to cite your sources like that. It's not super difficult. It shouldn't take hours worth of your time. I just want to make sure that you can do that. This is my theory of citation. Like, if it's not 100% perfect, I'm fine. If it looks nothing like APA, then I am not sure that you tried. But effort goes a long way here. So look up that website, make your paper look like an APA paper, bibliography, citations, the way it looks, the headings and such, and then you should be in good shape. All of that is super easy. So those are really the last things that I had to talk about your project. Again, we're moving on, so you have a discussion this week that the leaders are already working on, and you're finalizing your final project 1. It is due not on the Google Drive. There is an actual place to turn it on in Canvas, or turn it in Canvas. So there'll be just a file. So that's actually good for most of you who, when you put your document in Google Drive, it went, hey, let me change all the formatting. In Canvas, you can turn in a Microsoft Word document, a PDF, so you can just upload it right there. Finally, if you're wondering how I'm grading this, the rubric is already up on Canvas, so you can take a look at that as well. So, all right. Have a good rest of your week, and I will see you on Friday. Thank you.